Okay, we have that breaking news now. A pursuit of a suspect wanted for assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer.
And Mike Rogers is on the desk tracking this one. Mike, what do you have for us?
Yeah, you know, Pat Ridabay, this all of a sudden came to a very, very, very slow crawl, even almost maybe now to a stop. It looks like the front portion of the car has some damage. I see something hanging off of that front passenger tire well there where all this is going. So here's what we know about the suspect. North Hollywood unit started this actually tire well there where all this is going. So here's what we know about the suspect. North Hollywood unit started this actually right outside our station at Colfax and Ventura. This is an assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer suspect. It is a known suspect to them. They know him by name. He has multiple felonies. He's a known gang member and again is wanted for assault with a deadly weapon. Now, usually we talk about how the assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer comes during the chase. That is not the case here. The case here is that was the original want. That's why they started chasing this person. So it's unclear when that happened or what kind of an assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer it was, but it was not something that happened during the chase like we usually see.
Okay, so that when we say it happened before, obviously that could be a weapon that they were holding in their hand, or it could be their vehicle.
It could be either one.
It could explain why there could be some damage on the front of that vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. And and we know that these are gang units that started this. North Hollywood gang units officers were the ones that initiated this. And as we mentioned, it is a known suspect. They know exactly who he is. They say he's got multiple felony, prior arrests, as well as being wanted for an assault with a deadly weapon. So they're not going into tracking. They're not, kind of letting this guy go. Why he's only going 17 miles an hour, I don't know. There is damage to the front side of the passenger side car. I don't know if Brian and I think Jeff's our pilot tonight. If we get an opportunity to look at the other side of the car, that would be ideal to just kind of see kind of the extent of that damage. This white Lexus that is, on the run from LAPD right now.
Just so bizarre to see Lexus going 18 miles per hour down the 5 right now. It's not something you expect usually when you have a police pursuit. And now it looks like it's come. Oh no, it looked for a minute like it was coming to a stop.
You know, and we know this is LAPD. They didn't call in CHP, and they probably won't, right? I mean, considering if this guy, and I say guy, if he stays at this amount of speed, which is very little, and will hopefully come to a complete stop, then LAPD obviously using caution. Yeah. Because as you mentioned, Mike, we still have not really confirmed whether that assault was with the car or something else.
Right, what the exact of it is. Okay, so Brian's coming around, and we'll get, when the light from the night sun shines on it just right, you'll be able to kind of see when it flaps. But right where that front passenger tire is, there is some sort of damage to the car, and that might be why he's driving as slow as he is. It's hard to see it right there. Actually, you know what? I don't think he's got a tire there. I think he's on a rim on that front right side there, and it looks like
it's wobbling.
It's wobbling. So that's okay. So that explains the speeds. He's probably not able to get any faster than this as he is. We've not heard, LAPD talk about doing a pit maneuver. That may be because of the nature of the suspect. He's a known gang member, multiple felonies, et cetera, et cetera. They may not want that. May just, especially if he's on the 5 freeway here. I mean, obviously wildly inconvenient for the people that are trying to be on the 5, but he's not in the community. He's not near pedestrians. They may be content to just let him, kind of run out.
Do we have any idea if they could have done a spike strip already, and that might be why that tire is, it's definitely deflating. There's no question.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't necessarily hear that. It's totally possible. Although I do think that even in front of the tire, there is some damage to the front end there. So, there may be a situation here where, maybe they tried to stop him for a traffic violation, what have you, and then that's when he hit their car. It's hard to know at this point until this all, kind of wraps up. But yeah, I mean, you've got the LAPD right behind him, 8 miles an hour, 9 miles an hour. I mean, and even at this point, it's funny because we talk about how, pursuits need to be under a certain amount of miles per hour to do a pit maneuver. It's also not ideal to do them at such slow speeds that you don't have any availability to really spin them out and do the pit maneuver effectively.
And they know that the car is already disabled on its own, right? So to take that kind of a risk.
And let's not forget, we know that he is a documented gang member. That's what the LAPD has been saying. They've even put his name out there. We've heard that as well. Multiple felonies. They just now in my ear, I'm hearing he's also potentially known to be armed and dangerous. So That's also going to be another factor they take into account here when they're deciding how they're going to bring this pursuit to an end and what these post-pursuit tactics are going to be. I know that they've got additional units back there to be able to, have the correct amount of officers to be able to take this guy into custody once it's done.
This looks like, I mean, on the other side of the freeway, we see traffic. Now, have they done a traffic break here on this?
Very
Mike,
likely.
do you think so? Because he's going so slow, and I don't see anybody in front or behind.
Yeah, I'll ask Brian Brian's pulling out a little bit. So LAPD's back there. There may even be a CHP unit back there. But look at that. There's a whole line of cops ready to take this guy into custody. And yes, you do have a unit right there in the back that is conducting that traffic break that's keeping people back. The good news is where they're at on the 5, you don't have a lot of on-ramps right here. And that's what's hard is when you have somebody going so slow that traffic is still allowed to get on the freeway and then you kind of intermingle there. But because there's not a ton of opportunities here for traffic to get on the freeway, they're not really being mixed in with this pursuit, which is good, especially because we're going at such significantly slow speeds because of that tire.
And we don't know if anyone else is in the car, right?
We've not heard. We've not heard that at all. We just know that they're at least the driver, and that's who they know, and who's the named suspect.
So what do you you've covered a number of these, and well, we all have, but basically, so we're watching this happen in slow motion.
Yeah.
And there are several things that could happen. Obviously, he could just run out of gas, decide to give up, or decide to stop and just stay in the vehicle, and then we're in standoff mode.
Yeah, and turn it into a whole other thing. Yeah, I mean, ideally, hopefully the car will give itself out eventually. Whatever's left of that front right tire, if it can continuously diminish, then hopefully that'll do it and it'll disable itself. I'll tell you though, while he's only going 15 miles an hour, and that's probably because of the condition of the car, we've seen people push those cars a lot faster with a lot less wheels. So that may be saving him, because when you get to those higher speeds, you start to diminishing the rim that it's on or the brake calipers or what have you. So the car is probably not eroding as fast as it normally would if there was a situation where he was going a little bit quicker. But I mean, look, he's content to just drive the way he's driving. We're southbound 5 at Stadium Way. We're about to pass the 2 freeway here. If we haven't already. Elysian, yeah, you see the freeway is about to merge right there. So that's where we'll start to add in, a bit more traffic into this as well.
Yeah, and you have to kind of put the mindset of the officers who are following behind all of that law enforcement, knowing that he's already assaulted an officer, knowing that he's considered armed and dangerous, and it looks like the windows are tinted. You can't really see in the car, so they're just trying to figure out what his frame of mind is and whether he's really going to pose a serious threat. Well,
and you also think too, again, if this is a person that's got, previous felony arrests, he's a known gang member, he's wanted for assault with a deadly weapon, people with that kind of history generally are a lot less willing to, go along with the program here and be taken into custody if they don't want to go back to prison, jail, or, whatever their situation is. So that definitely is a consideration that the LAPD will make. But again, we're 15, 16 miles an hour here, southbound on the 5 freeway. I can only imagine the traffic backup that this is creating on every time you go down the 5, especially as you come into downtown. Almost no matter what time of night, it's a mess, and here we are. This guy's making it much worse.
Then that means, forget about it.
Yeah.
So many people are being, their livelihoods are certainly being interrupted right now because they're at a standstill.
And now they're holding traffic, the merging traffic from the 2 freeway that was supposed to get on. So you're going to start to jam up 2 different freeways. Now obviously the 2 is not as as busy of a freeway as the 5 is, but still it's going to have a traffic impact nonetheless. And you're going to have slow traffic on the northbound side that's going to be watching everything that's going on, and it's a real cascading kind of effect on traffic.
You think that they know who he is? You wonder, are they talking to him maybe? Communicating?
Well, we do know that they were trying to find a last known address for him, and it doesn't sound like they were able to do that. I've not heard them say that they were trying to make any kind of communication with the suspect, just that they know who he is, again, by name. I know there was some discussion on whether or not they should go into tracking mode, and they're asking unknown number of occupants in the vehicle right now. It sounds like they are communicating with CHP. So it may be a scenario where CHP gets involved. We know the CHPs tends to be a little more aggressive with their tactics. So if CHP sees an opportunity at 20 miles an hour to do a pit and be done with this, they may do that. So we'll see. He's obviously been on the freeway for quite some time now. I know they initially talked about CHP getting involved. So this one, let me just back up for people. This came Colfax and Ventura is where it started, southbound on the 101 into Hollywood. He actually got off the freeway in Hollywood, was on surface streets for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and then northbound 101, eastbound 134. Eastbound on Barham, then Zoo Drive, then down here to the 5. So he's kind of made his tour here, but we've been on the freeway for a considerable amount of time.
So I wonder, would there be a possibility of them coming on via an off-ramp on the other side of the freeway, since there's no other traffic and he is going so slowly, and kind of confronting him from the front?
Yeah, I mean, if CHP wanted to try to lay a spike on the freeway, they could certainly come up an off-ramp or, go the wrong way on the ramp to lay out the spike. It's that could be a crapshoot. There's no traffic on the freeway. The 5 is a very wide freeway. He could easily, maneuver his way around it. But you also have the car that's pretty disabled on the front end. So how much maneuverability does he even have of that car to avoid a spike? So it's something that they could consider. I know they're chatting with the CHP right now as we approach the 5 and the 110 split here. You see the signs there to be able to kind of guide people to other areas. But as we get into the downtown area, this is going to go from bad to worse for people that are trying to commute and get to where they're going. Well,
again, as you said, the CHP is certainly a little more aggressive, and they may just want to get this over with before they reach the point of trying to get off of, to exit and get onto Surface Street. You also wonder just how far this car can go anyway. Yeah. Don't you think if he could have had a little bit more speed, it's not like he's playing cat and mouse with officers at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think if the car was able to do more than it's doing, I think he probably would have been doing that. Especially he got on the freeway, which, if he's thinking I don't have control of the car, the freeway is a lot less. There's less sharp turns. You can kind of just maintain your positioning on the freeway and just go south. But then you think, what's the point? Right? I mean, you're going 14 miles an hour. You're obviously not going to outrun them at this point. So why keep running? Why keep doing this? Just, trying to buy last minutes of freedom here before you go back to custody, especially if this guy has a lengthy criminal history. We don't know how long he could potentially be in custody for this. So he may just be trying to, buy himself some time. I mean, I don't even see a situation where, we've seen people get on the phone and call people and set up swaps and do all that, but he can't get enough distance on the cops to, even really set anything like that up.
Yeah, what is his game plan?
Well, you know what, Mike? You were on this before we actually took it to air.
Yeah.
Was this person driving faster or at a normal rate of speed or over?
I would say normal. The speeds have never been, 50, 60 miles an hour. I think the highest we were listening is maybe like 35 or 40.
So certainly not this slow.
So certainly not this slow. No, this didn't happen until we got on the freeway. We got on the 5, and then all of a sudden he kind of really, brought it down to a snail's pace at this point. And I think this, we're looking at 20 miles an hour, but this is even faster than when he first got on the freeway. He was down to like 9 or 10 miles an hour. So he was very, very, very slow when he got on the 5. Certainly we haven't picked up much, but we're about between 15 and 20 at this point.
You can tell the different agencies who either are approaching or have taken over. Can you tell if CHP has gotten into position?
That's
what they are coming?
We're trying to listen to that right now. I do know that they're kind of relaying questions, and let me switch over to a different radio here as well. But they are kind of relaying questions from the helicopter to CHP units. They're asking about that. I just heard the helicopter say they peered in the front. They only see one person. But again, to your guys' point earlier, the car does have heavily tinted windows, so they can't obviously see in the back seat of the car, but they do know that at least in the front seat of the car, they only see that one person. So that kind of lines up with what we were, listening to earlier. They were very specific about who they were after. They know him by name. They were calling him out by name. They know exactly what gang he's affiliated with, or they allege that he's affiliated with. So I think at the end of the day, we're probably only going to see one person in here. And I don't know. Let me, Brian, pull out just a little bit. I'm just curious at the end of the LAPD cars, if there's any CHP cars joining or at least getting in position. And remember, we've talked about this before, but CHP is an all or nothing agency. I don't see them back there, but if they do get involved, they're going to want to have, especially with the want that this guy has, they're going to want to have a good amount of units with them before they start it. And actually, I think that might be CHP all the way there at the end. It's hard to tell. But, we'll listen in and see if they're going to take this over and get involved.
And, they wouldn't, you said they talked about going into tracking mode, but they wouldn't do that now, would they? Simply because he's going so slow on the freeway, that's causing a problem.
It's causing a problem.
It's causing an issue.
And it would be inefficient for them to do that. The whole point of tracking mode is to back up, give the guy some space, kind of give him the illusion that he's really not being followed anymore. And the units, everyone could get some space, but you're going 19 miles an hour. You can obviously see that they're still back there. I think everyone is well aware that the LAPD is there. He's well aware. He knows they're not going to go anywhere. And because of the nature of the want and his criminal history, they're not going to go into tracking mode.
And then when we got that wider picture, we saw some other cars on that Looked like a parallel street there.
Yeah.
So that always makes you a little nervous too.
Yeah, and I think I think that's the overcrossing for the overpass rather for the 110 freeway. So we're going to see, these cars now mixing in as they're transitioning from the, southbound 110 to the southbound 5 and adding some people in. And I'm just listening to some of the radio traffic to see if CHP is getting involved. I don't hear them at the moment talking about getting involved. And, at this point, I mean, LAPD's got a ton of units there. They could very easily handle this and just continue with the pursuit at this point.
It looks so laborious from our standpoint. It really does. And I mean, it almost looks like it's difficult for this person to go up, just to be on the freeway at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like he's trying really hard to just go 14 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Obviously, and then you've got some units even on the overpass there that are kind of in place if for whatever reason he gets off. Now this, I can't tell if that's an exit, or if he's just on the shoulder there. It may be, we're still a little ways away. Okay. So yeah, I'm just curious what the thought process here is with this guy, what his plan is. I mean, are you just trying to get a couple more minutes out of this before you end up, going to jail again, or what the deal is here? But either way, he is trucking along southbound on the 5 freeway, 16 miles an hour as we come into the kind of the Lincoln Heights area on the east, Chinatown on the west.
It's kind of the opposite of what we're used to with the high-speed pursuits we see so often in Southern California down the freeways.
Oh, look, guys.
Oh.
Did he get into it?
He's going to exit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exiting. Let's see what street this is. It says
Main Street?
Yeah. Albion Street, yeah. So we'll get off here, and depending on which way he goes, like I said, he'll either go into Chinatown or he'll go, if he goes east, he'll go into to Lincoln Heights. And, we'll see what they do here. We're going to lose him behind I think that's a sound wall right there. Yeah.
I mean, that is a little concerning heading into downtown where there are pedestrians and people out at this hour still and other cars, traffic. At least here we kind of knew what we were dealing with somewhat.
Right. And I think, too, that is, the benefit that the LAPD was kind of working with here is that, there's not really a risk to the public, right, when he's on the freeway like that. They can control traffic, they can control pedestrians, all of those things. You get off on surface streets here, and that obviously, changes the game significantly here for how they're going to handle this.
Yeah, we certainly see a lot of some apartment buildings, units of that sort, and that does make you wonder. We've seen situations where they possibly know where they're going to end up, and try to make a run for it to pull it. But as slow as they're going, and officers are right there, so if they certainly stay behind them, that would make it, I would say more difficult, but at the same time, if they believed he's armed, then that would make them a little more cautious at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just listening to the radio, LAPD just advised CHP that he got off, and CHP, kind of did their,
pull back.
Oh, okay, well, let us know if he gets back on. So, I mean, obviously LAPD is really content on getting this guy. He's known to them. It sounds like they've probably been after him for a minute. And again, just to want to remind people, the gang units within the LAPD, they are, in black and whites. They're in patrol cars. They're uniformed, but they don't respond to radio calls unless it's, maybe has a gang affiliation to it. So they have the opportunities to just kind of focus on gang suppression within their division. So they're able to do a little bit more proactive things instead of responding to 911 calls. And that may be how they found this guy. If they've been after him for a little while, they finally caught up with him tonight. And, here we are into this mess here at Workman and Main in the Lincoln Heights area. After we got off the freeway, just so everyone's, we did go eastbound off the 5 freeway.
And remind our viewers again, this started in the North Hollywood area, then they ended up going toward Burbank.
Yeah, we started in Studio City. We started at Colfax and Ventura.
At our station,
At
basically.
our station, yeah, right. And then we went eastbound.
But it's no one we know.
Yes, not affiliated. Eastbound on Ventura, and then we went southbound on the 101 into Hollywood. Drove around in Hollywood a little bit, got back northbound on the 101, exited Barham, eastbound on Barham, and then eastbound on Forest Lawn past the cemetery, and then onto Zoo Drive, and then from Zoo Drive he got on the 5 South. And that's when we, started just really crawling along here, southbound on the 5. Then we got off here in the Lincoln Heights area, and that's where we're at right now. I want to ask Mike, the director, I want to answer a question from Text the Desk, if we're able to put that in really quickly. It's a question that we've kind of gotten from a few different people related to this, and it's just about why is this kind of being allowed to go on at these intensely slow speeds? Yeah. And this person specifically asking, why doesn't LAPD put a vehicle in front and box him in? Well, the answer to that is they're concerned he's got weapons. They're concerned that that could put them in unnecessary risk and harm's way. There's all kinds of tactics that they have to bring these things to an end, should they do that. At this point, certainly this is a danger to the public because of what he's wanted for, and he's obviously not stopping for law enforcement, et cetera, et cetera. But if we were in a situation where he's barreling through 70 miles an hour, things like that, and it's getting really out of hand, then they could have options to bring in Metropolitan Division, which has armored vehicles, and bring it to an end that way. But at this point, the watch commander or the sergeant that's in charge of the pursuit at this point, there's the question from Jake, why doesn't LAPD put a vehicle in front of him and box him in? It would put the officers at what they probably deem an unnecessary risk at this point. That could change later. They could change the tactics if they learn more about the guy, what he had on him at the time. But just given his criminal history and what the want is, that's kind of why you're seeing this right now. I would guess they're just hoping that car gives out, runs out of gas, or the suspect just gets bored and gives it all up.
Yeah, at this point, because we don't even see them. We have noticed in some situations where they feel it safe to do so. They're just even blocking some intersections or where they could possibly make a turn and they wouldn't be able to. Right. So you think they have got enough information about this person to just let this run its course? So to speak.
Let it run its course, or there is also the opportunity, if you get somebody far enough up the road that has good enough cover to lay down a spike strip where they can put the spike strip down, but they're not necessarily in harm's way if the suspect were to do something. That's always a scenario too. Though we've talked about this before, just like pit maneuvers, if the guy is going too slow, it gives him the opportunity to see the spike and drive around it. Who knows? We'll have to see kind of what they do. But at this point, they're kind of content on, letting this guy go his 15-mile-an-hour joyride that he's on, and just hoping that car gives out at some point.
Mike, sometimes we do these pursuits and the want is not nearly as dangerous or threatening as this want, which was assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer before the pursuit even started, right? So this person is definitely known to them, considered armed and dangerous, and part of a gang.
Yeah, part of a gang. They've got all the information. They know who the name of the gang. They know him by name specifically. They've got. Sorry, I'm just. Yeah. So now they're talking about just what I thought earlier. They're now making the consideration of if they want to notify Metropolitan Division. So that's not happened yet. But the conversation is beginning, especially because they're talking about he's armed and dangerous. He's clearly not going to stop, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, let's talk about the Metropolitan Division. So we're talking about a whole different level of law enforcement here.
Right. So Metropolitan Division at the LAPD has a couple different facets to it. That is most commonly known as the SWAT team, but they've got a bunch. They've got Metropolitan Division has SWAT, K9, the mounted unit, all kinds of things. So what they would likely do is bring in not a Bearcat, but they do have armored SUVs like. I don't know what they're driving right now, but they used to have those Excursions that were, kind of armored. And they could come in. They're a little bit more maneuverable than a Bearcat.
And faster. Because it takes a while to get a Bearcat in place.
And so they could come in, box him in, like our viewers are asking, but be safe to do it. Be in a car that will protect the officers if this guy, for whatever reason, does have a gun and decides to shoot it out, or however that's going to go. It would offer them a lot more protection than a patrol car. So, again, that would be Metropolitan Division, which houses SWAT and a couple of other specialty units. And that discussion is happening. I don't know that they're going to come in, but they're at least discussing it at this point.
At times when they know who this person is, maybe they know even some associates.
Oh, yeah.
And possibly talking to them and him say, hey, you need to call your guy. And tell him that, he only had, this is going to go one way.
Right, yeah, there's
not a good way.
Yeah, there's no coming back from this. I mean, your car's not working, you're going 12 miles an hour, you've got a ton of units behind you. This isn't
we
going to
know
go.
who you are.
Right. And to your point, Pat, too, as well, they know their associates, but they also know where his associates live. So if we're getting close to one of those addresses, they will certainly be aware of that. They also have the, we obviously don't because we're not law enforcement, but they have the benefit of knowing how has he interacted with police in the past. Has he had, bad interactions with them previously? Does that make them more hesitant to use certain tactics? Because they have the benefit of knowing who this person is, they have the benefit of knowing what he's done in the past, how he's reacted when they've tried certain things or if they've tried certain things, and that all formulates how they're going to do this when they finally bring it to an end.
Yeah, and he just doesn't have a great record when it comes to how he interacts with police.
Right, especially if the original one is assault with a deadly weapon on a police. I want to answer one more question, Glinda, and we don't have it on the screen, but I just want to ask, are there units waiting for him at his residence? That's a great question because usually that's the case, but we heard LAPD say they don't have a good known address on him.
Oh.
So that, is obviously another kind of wild card here is if he is living somebody or staying somewhere, they don't necessarily, sounds like, have a great idea of where that is, which would prevent them from getting there.
Unless they talk to an associate.
Right.
If that associate comes up, they find the name, a phone number, they can call them and say, hey, listen, we need you to cooperate. Where, can you give us an address for this person?
Yeah.
Or where do you live, in fact?
Yeah, or family. I mean, we've seen it a number of times that even a person that's got this kind of want will still see family members, call
Show
in
up
and try to help negotiate this and bring it to an end.
Does make you wonder, Mike. I know you can't just tick it off right now because it's maybe not available to you, but you do know that this person has a long history, a long criminal record, which, possibly says that he has been incarcerated before.
Slowing down.
Yeah.
Oh.
I wonder if that driver that had that door open, I wonder if that caught his attention a little bit. Maybe, hopefully not making that kind of plan, but but yeah, Pat, to your point, they do have what they described on the radio was multiple felony record. So they know kind of what they're dealing with here.
Do we know if this is his car?
It is not. So it's funny you mentioned that because originally there was a little bit of discrepancy on the radio about if the car was stolen or not. And then they kind of backed off of that and were just going with assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer as the want, not saying it was a stolen vehicle. They've got the license plate. They've run it. I've not heard them make any more references to it being stolen, so we don't think it is, but they know who the guy is, and I think that's kind of what they're focused on more than maybe it's stolen or not. But there was a... Sorry, I'm just...
Sure, we know you're listening.
So that's exactly, okay, what I was worried about was what they're talking about now. So when he slowed down right there was a parked vehicle with the door open. They were worried that he was going to jump out and try to jump in that car. Mm-hmm. So they were kind of, letting the other officers be aware, hey, he, was kind of had his eyes on that car. Because if he can get the opportunity to jump into a car, that's obviously going to be a benefit to him because the car that he's in is not functioning well.
And more opportunity right here. He's right near a gas station. I mean, there are a lot more opportunities now that he's on the surface streets and kind of in a congested area.
Yeah, and maybe that's the plan that he's trying to make. I mean, that's very desperate when you've got all those officers right behind you, but desperation is desperation.
And you know what, too? I mean, but if that's the case, then you're involving someone else. If they want to get involved, and you've got, how many vehicles, 8 or 9 LAPD cars behind this guy, and you're going to jump out and get in this car, and the other car is going to drive you off in the sunset or, help you escape?
Yeah, right. Well,
a lot of factors here to consider.
A lot of factors, and then you're just adding to the list of charges you already wanted for. I mean, if you go carjack somebody from a gas station, that's not going to, that's going to be problematic as well.
And just think about the disruption this one person has caused across the freeways of Southern California tonight, going on the slow speed chase. Every time we pass an on-ramp or, an exit or anything like that, you see all these cars backed up.
Okay, can I say something right here? I mean, and it's dramatic, but I just got to say, just taking me back to 94. I mean, serious.
Yeah.
That's how these things started. Was of course that infamous pursuit of that Bronco in 1994. It was, followed by a number of police cars. Of course, that was on the freeway. This is on surface streets. Eventually, they did end up on surface streets.
Yeah.
But just looking at that, I just kind of, have to reminisce about it, I guess, because
full circle moment.
I was on the air when it happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and this guy is just no consideration for what's going on. I mean, thankfully it's good and bad that he's off the freeway. Obviously, it's good that he's off the freeway so the freeway traffic can continue. But there was a lot less, I would say, risk on the freeway because of his speeds. Less risk to the public, less opportunities for him to potentially jump into another car or maybe try to commit another felony or something like that. So you get a little bit worried when we're on surface streets and you have the general public that's kind of in the mix. We're going very slow. Just for everyone's reference, we'll kind of reset here. We're on Valley Boulevard coming into the El Sereno area. This is after he got off the 5 freeway and has really been only kind of following that one road all the way up. And we're coming into El Sereno. I mean, if he keeps going, we'll cross out of the city and end up in Alhambra pretty soon. But it'll take us a minute. He's gone a distance at 13 miles an hour. Yeah. I mean, just to remind our viewers, Colfax and Ventura and Studio City, down into Hollywood, up past Universal Studios, the zoo, Forest Lawn Cemetery or Memorial, and then southbound on the 5, kind of through Glendale, and until we got off in Lincoln Heights, and now we're pushing into the El Sereno area. Now he will have an opportunity to go southbound 710 here in a minute. So he's eastbound Valley. Once he makes it, I want to say maybe another 4, 5, 6 blocks, there will be an opportunity for him to go southbound 710. I don't know if he'll do that or not, but the option will present itself to him very quickly. But
just the visuals. If you're let's say that you're passing by someone's home and they look out and there are like 8 or 9 police cars following this vehicle, that in itself is jarring. And, I think most pursuits that we deal with are at much higher speeds.
Yeah. So when people go run out of their house, it's come and gone before they even realize it. This one, you could probably run faster than the car's going. So, you'd be able to sit here and see it for a long time. Thankfully, we have not seen the public come out and start to gather. That always makes me nervous when that happens too, because you just don't know what the person's going to do. So thankfully, we haven't seen anybody start congregating on the streets yet. But he's going so slow. And while we're talking about the public, I want to bring up another text to desk question there on the right. Could this be another instance of him communicating with someone else to get a new car? Maybe. Dane from Venice asked that question, and it's a good question because we talk about that frequently. I will say though, Dane, in this scenario, maybe, potentially. I just don't think he's going to have the distance on the cops to be able to make that work.
Right.
When we've seen that work for suspects in the past, it's because they've been able to get enough of a jump on the cops. They can make the switch really quick, usually under an underpass or usually, in a gas station, something like that, and they can make that move happen very quickly. But because he's not able to go faster than 20 miles an hour, he's not able to get a good lead on the cops, which would make that process more difficult. Not impossible, certainly. We've seen stranger things happen, but we usually don't see that in situations where the speeds are as slow as this.
And the fact that they are right up on this car.
And right up on him, and they're
not giving him any distance.
Yeah, and there are a lot of them right up on him.
Yeah.
And you've got the LAPD fixed wing still ahead too.
Okay, that was a question too. So there is a fixed wing.
I'm sorry, not a fixed wing, a helicopter.
Helicopter.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did see a guy on a bike who looked like he was kind of keeping up with the driver for a while, and I did see, it's not like sometimes we see where the crowd gathers and it's an actual crowd, but there have been some people when he was in a more residential area who are coming out and kind of catching a glimpse, watching this slow speed pursuit go by.
Well, and remember last week we had that guy on the motorcycle who got involved in a pursuit, and he ended up going to jail for obstruction.
Yes.
And he didn't know the pursuit suspect at all, just decided that,
he wanted to get in the action.
Yeah, and we see that. People get frustrated. I think that's the on-ramp. Brian, pull out a little bit. Is that the on-ramp to the 710? I think it is. I think he passed the 710.
So he is committed to surface streets.
Yeah, that would have been the on-ramp right there to the 710. So we're moving past that. And he is continuing through that, still on Valley. There's the LAPD helicopter that's overhead. And I actually think there may be 2 helicopters that are overhead. I'm trying to figure that out. But I think there are 2 helicopters that are overhead right now.
Well, guys, he's got to be wondering, what do I do now?
Yeah.
What do I do next? What's my end game here?
Well, the answer is pull over.
Yeah.
But, he's obviously beyond that at this point, I think.
Yeah, I wonder how it's all going to end.
Yeah, and we'll see if Metropolitan Division is going to get involved or what have you. I'm going to ask our assignment desk to see if we can get that answer really quickly. They should know if that notification has been made. Give me just 1 second.
Okay, and again, when we talk about Metropolitan Division, we're not necessarily talking about those Bearcats, because that seems to take a longer time to get that Bearcat in position, out of the station, first of all. And I don't believe that every jurisdiction has a Bearcat. So that's the other reason why it takes so long for them to get assembled, if that's what they were going to do. You also think in situations like that the person is generally has pulled a gun.
Yeah.
Or you know they have a weapon. Remember that the guy that just went into he ran into somebody's fence.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And he stayed there, but at the same time, the Bearcats surrounded him because
Right.
they knew that person had a weapon.
Right. The only thing, because I heard you guys mention, so LAPD's Bearcats are kept at Metropolitan Division, which is near downtown. So we're not terribly far from there.
Okay.
Obviously there are situations are going to be different whether or not they have officers currently at Metro or if they need to drive into Metro and then get the Bearcat. It's hard to tell what that looks like at this moment. But at least we're not, there are times, unfortunately, where we're down in San Pedro and we got to get a Bearcat from downtown, and it takes a lot longer. So thankfully we're not that far from Metropolitan Division, and hopefully it wouldn't take as long if that's the route that they decide to go.
Can you tell us at this point? I know you're on hold for a minute there.
Yeah.
Do you know for sure that they're sending even like the SUVs?
We're trying to figure that out. I know they just notified Alhambra PD too, because they just came into their area. But we're trying to get a hold of LAPD right now to determine whether or not they've actually pulled the trigger and made the Metro request.
Mike, have we been keeping track of this car at any point tonight where the driver was going above 20 miles per hour?
Yeah, but by not a lot. When we first were, getting, listening to this, he was about 35 or 40. So we've never been at speeds that have exceeded, really a freeway speed limit at all. But, maybe on surface streets, I guess he could have been going like 5 over. But for the most part, we have been under 40 miles an hour. And certainly since we have been overhead, he has not exceeded the grand speed of about 20, which is good. We obviously don't want him to be driving like a maniac, for lack of a better word, on the roadways here. They're talking about Metro. So the ground units are now asking again about Metro, whether or not they are going to come out. Okay, so they're waiting on a callback. So by the way, people should know the way Metropolitan Division works. The Metropolitan Division has to also kind of approve the request, if you will. So when we have a person that is, we'll call it a barricade suspect, but if the officers, let's say it's, the patrol officers follow somebody home and the guy runs inside, just because somebody runs inside and barricades himself doesn't mean it's an automatic Metropolitan or SWAT call out. Metropolitan and SWAT generally will only come if they have a good reason to believe the person is armed. So they may be weighing that right now as well. Do we actually know he has a gun? What have you? But it sounds like they're trying to sort that out and at least get Metropolitan Division coming. But I did hear that they are still in the works of making those phone calls and trying to see if that's going to be a valid option for them.
We know they're used to taking their time and staying with something as long as they want to, but at the same time, got to feel that this is also kind of annoying. At some point you want it to be over.
Want it to be over and just take the guy into custody and call it a day. Look, so now we're starting to get people on the corners.
Yeah.
See, there's a group of people standing right there on the corner that probably kind of, came out and have been watching it or following it or know that it's happening. And again, with these slow speeds, they have got plenty of time to come out and see it.
Picking up speeds of up to 22 miles per hour now.
Wow, they're really pushing through there.
And we don't know when this car was damaged, right? For people who are just tuning in, they didn't maybe not have seen the front right side tire. It looks like it's pretty much completely gone.
Yeah, and I'll ask Brian and Jeff if we're able to slide back to the other side so we can get another look at that damaged tire and see what that was about. And to your point, no, we don't know when that happened. And again, this is an assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. Generally, sorry, I'm just listening to some radio traffic. Generally, when we see assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer, it is because of something that happened during the pursuit. But as we mentioned, this started with the original want being assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. Now, that's not to say that the officers tried to encounter the person and he rammed their car and took off, and that's what started the pursuit. That's very much a possibility. We just don't know at this point. Whatever it is, though, the damage that was done to the front of that car, and thanks, Brian, for getting to the other side, and you can see kind of that something's hanging off there.
It's still on. The wheel,
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
I am too, and to me, it looks like a piece of rubber. You see kind of it hanging off there in the wheel well.
Yeah.
You see another part of it underneath of the car. The tire itself almost looks, it's hard to see, but it almost looks like it's on rims. So there is significant damage. Yeah, look at that. So here's what I think we're looking at. I think the rubber from the tire has come off of the rim and is stuck in the wheel well. That's kind of what it looks like to me, and it's maybe dragging a little bit under the passenger side door there. So that is obviously what has given this guy, okay, look, we're making a turn. This is the first time we've made a turn in forever, Atlantic and Valley. So that shows you he does at least still have some control of the car if he's able to make that left-hand turn. Now, he's not, doing anything with it, not going very fast, but we did make that left-hand turn northbound. Now we'll come more into the city of Alhambra.
I can imagine how much noise that
Oh.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Not just the sirens, but just the tire alone. And I'm surprised that it's still hanging on.
Yeah.
It's still on. I thought by now that we would have seen some sparks, but nope.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because that rubber's still kind of hooked in there and that's why it's not sparking at all. But yeah, I mean, if anybody's ever had a flat tire, just your tire being flat is so loud.
Exactly.
Let alone if your car is riding on a rim, like that's just got to be so uncomfortable. It makes the situation inside of the car probably that much more tense for the guy. He's trying to figure out how he's going to get away. He's, a known, gang member, potential felon, or at least felony or previous felony arrests. According to law enforcement. So there's a lot that's probably going through his head about what he's going to do next. And that loud noise from the rim, I'm sure, does not make that any more comfortable.
He actually has kind of a good strategy considering what he's, dealing with, because often we see these pursuits and the wheel just flies off and the car crashes and it all comes to an end. But he's been taking a really measured response by going 14 miles per hour. And he's maintained it for, an hour now?
Oh yeah, I mean this has been going on for a hot minute. Let me see, I can actually tell you the time we first heard about it. 8:54 is what time we launched SkyCal. So right around that time. So we're coming up on an hour of this kind of game that they have been playing with this person and trying to get him to stop. And clearly it's not working. You've got a ton of units behind him. You've got 2 helicopters overhead. We're talking about bringing in Metropolitan Division, which again we've mentioned is their kind of tactical team there at LAPD. And the guy's still going. And look, I want to point out that Crown Victoria, that second police car, that slick top, that is one of the gang. That's the gang unit, and that's the one that started the chase. So they've been with this the whole time. They're sticking with it. These are North Hollywood units, at least the gang unit is. I'm not sure, they may have mixed in a Northeast or a Hollywood unit when it was in those areas, but you've got these LAPD officers that are right behind him. He's not going to get away from this. But what his end game is anybody's guess.
So I guess right now we can say he's just really trying to, have a little more freedom.
Yeah, run out the clock and take in the last sights of Los Angeles.
Apprehended.
Yeah, before this all comes to an end. Yeah, and we'll keep keeping north here, and eventually we're going to end up in. Pushing into South Pasadena eventually, but we're going so slow it'll take a minute to get there.
Yeah, and another gas station, more pedestrians, more opportunities for him to do something really dangerous with all these people around and open car doors, like you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah. Which of course is, that's the worry about, at least like we talked about, at least when we were on the freeway, it was, there was no pedestrians, it was a controlled environment, at least a little bit. Here, there's just so many different options that can happen. But, thankfully, again, he doesn't have speed on his side. He's not able to get ahead of him. He's not able to, try to, shake him for a couple minutes while he makes a move. Just none of that is really going to be possible at these speeds.
No, we don't. Remember that not long ago, the guy that pulled into the gas, he was the motorcyclist.
Yeah.
He pulled into the gas station and the nozzle went with him, of course. But, he was going at fast amount of speed. So this is a whole different scenario here.
Right, and even at those speeds, LAPD still caught up to. That's why he got spooked, because the LAPD caught up to him and he bolted with the nozzle still in the tank. Yeah, and he wasn't able to get gas. But then we found out later, remember, that when he was in the park, he had a friend bring him gas and left it in a bottle in the middle of the park, and he poured it in. So people are clever. I mean, I don't want to cut them short. They do have ideas up their sleeve. What this guy's idea, who knows? But I will say, as we're kind of entering more into the downtown, Alhambra area, or the core of Alhambra, you are starting to see a lot more people. Traffic is definitely, a bit heavier than it was earlier. There's going to be more people out.
Police cars.
Yeah, a lot of police cars still there. Alhambra PD is also aware. They're obviously not involved in this, but they are aware that this is coming through their city. And then, like I mentioned, in some time at the speeds we're going, we'll end up in South Pasadena.
Okay, I wonder where he's going to end up.
I don't think he even knows, really. I think at this point he's just as we talked about, trying to run out the clock. That's this white Lexus, that is wanted for an assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. The North Hollywood gang units were the ones that initiated.
We did see him make a turn, though. Remember, we hadn't seen him do any kind of maneuver in quite a while.
Right. Okay, I have a development. He is on the phone with officers.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Well, I mean, the fact that they know who he is, so.
Right. So I'm sorry. They're actually on the phone with the suspect's wife, not the suspect himself, but the suspect's wife.
Relative.
Right.
We talked about
we
associates.
Talked about that.
They could easily find them.
Yeah.
So they're talking to her. Officers are talking to her.
Officers are talking to her, and it sounds like he's talking to her, and then she's talking to officers. I'm not going to repeat everything that's being said because we want to be careful about kind of what we're revealing here. But I know there is some, I'll say, concerning statements that are happening. So the LAPD is now going to be aware of that as well, and try to deal with that. So we'll see if we get any more kind of developments from that angle of it, but at least we're making progress. If you have somebody that can communicate with law enforcement, that can try to get him to calm down, pull over, be done, and all of that. And if his wife can be that voice of reason, hopefully that's the case and this comes to a peaceful end.
And he's still not that we know that he can or not, but he has not attempted to speed up. So whatever conversation is taking place, hopefully it's still steady, right? And he didn't accelerate or get agitated and try to speed up here.
Yeah, and hopefully the conversation between his wife and dispatchers or whoever is talking to her, hopefully is can remain cordial, can remain kind of progressive, I think is the right word I'm looking for, but productive. That's what I was looking for. Be productive and really just get this guy to negotiate a surrender, a pullover, and just be done. Either that or we get Metropolitan in here and they force him to stop and then they can negotiate him with them after that.
Okay, so can we assume at this point that the negotiating team of LAPD, special team, is talking to the wife?
It doesn't sound like it, actually. It sounds like it's one of the patrol units that is kind of involved in this. So CNT would come with Metropolitan Division, and then certainly if Metropolitan Division does get involved, they would hand that off to CNT. That's Crisis Negotiation Team, and then they would take that role over. But at this point, Metropolitan Division is not deployed. Listening? Okay, Metropolitan Division is going to get involved. So we just heard that the George Forty, who's the supervisor for the gang unit at North Hollywood, is going to send resources to this to hopefully bring this to an end. And for those of our viewers that are, just kind of coming in here, Pat, we've talked about this. That is likely going to be a couple of armored cars that can essentially force the suspect to stop.
Okay, and that's a different development considering that they have been speaking with the wife of this pursuit suspect who we understand is a known gang member, has a number of felonies. So the fact that they have made that decision to bring in Metro probably says something.
Yeah.
And like you say, you don't want to give away everything that is being discussed. But I would think at that point that is a decision that is being made based on those conversations or the negotiating that has been going on with LAPD, with the officer in the patrol car, and this person's wife.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and hopefully, whatever happens, obviously we want this to come to a peaceful end. We want it to come for the officers, for the driver, for the public that's around this. I mean, that's why we put these on as slow speeds as this is. This person does still pose a threat to the public, which is why you're watching it on TV at this moment. And I'm just listening to some of the radio traffic here. It does sound like they are trying to make contact with the suspect directly. We had told you, as we end the 9 o'clock hour here, we had told you that they were on the phone with the suspect's wife, and it sounds like at this point they are going to try to make direct contact with the suspect, which obviously probably is a little bit better. You would rather be able to talk to the person directly instead of kind of a literal game of telephone, if you will, where you're going back and forth and, okay, tell him this, and then he tells her that, and et cetera, et cetera. So obviously it is a better game if they can speak with him directly and try to negotiate with him directly. But here we are, we're the south end of north end of Alhambra, south end of South Pasadena, and we are just going at extremely slow speeds. This pursuit, we've been on it for coming up on an hour now. We have not been at speeds any higher than what you're seeing on the screen here. About 15, 20 miles an hour is at most what we have seen. We do believe that at some point he was going maybe 35 or 40, but still nothing incredible in this speed. So we're coming into Pasadena here as we begin CBS LA at 10 o'clock.
And our breaking news at 10 o'clock now, pursuit of a suspect wanted for assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer.
Mike Rogers has been tracking this from the desk now. This is apparently a known suspect, a known gang member to the police. They've been in chats with his wife. They've now apparently trying to talk to him as well. Mike, what's the very latest here?
Yeah, so I want to catch our viewers up here as we round out the top of the hour here on CBS LA at 10. We can tell you this started at Colfax and Ventura when LAPD North Hollywood gang units attempted to stop the suspect. Now, the suspect is originally wanted for assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. I point that out not only because it is the want of the driver, but because oftentimes when we talk about assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer, we are talking about something that happened during the chase, but wasn't necessarily the original want. In this case, the original want was assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. We don't know what that looks like. We don't know if that was something that happened a couple days ago. We don't know if that happened right as they made contact with him. Maybe he rammed into them, because we do know that the front driver's side tire is out. We know that it looks like it's either the rubber from the tire, or somebody texted the desk and said it may be the lining of the inside of the rim that's hanging out there. Either way, that tire is no good. It does look like he made contact with something that we don't believe were spike strips. So that very well may be what the assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer was, just to start it out, but was not wanted for anything other than that. We also know that this person is a known gang member. They know him by name. They know what his criminal history is, that includes multiple felony arrests. The white Lexus that's being driven right now, we don't understand it to be stolen, though there was a bit of confusion back and forth with that at the beginning of this chase. Regardless, we know that they had been in contact with the suspect's wife. And again, I'm going to withhold some of the statements that were discussed during that conversation just because of a sensitive nature that it is. But we do know that they had made contact with the suspect's wife, who was giving the police some information. I know that right now what I was just listening to is they have directly tried to call. Okay, so they had tried to directly call the suspect himself, and he did not answer. They just said on the radio multiple callbacks were unsuccessful. At this point, they have asked the units, and we're talking about the units that are trying to call are in the cars that are chasing them. So we know right now that Metropolitan Division was requested and is en route. And for our viewers that are just joining us, Metropolitan Division with the Los Angeles Police Department houses several different units, including SWAT, K9, the horseback, the mounted unit, etc. In this scenario, we will likely get a version of SWAT, probably not the full SWAT platoon, but a version that will have armored cars that can come in and conduct a pit maneuver or box him in, or however they try to do this. We've had so many people tonight text the desk and say, I don't understand. He's going 10 miles an hour. Why not pit him? Why not box him in? While we don't have a specific answer as to why the supervisor in this situation decided that, in general, when you're dealing with an armed suspect or a suspect known to be armed, that is a documented gang member, that has, this, that, and the other, that's already wanted for assault with a deadly weapon, they don't want to put those officers in harm's way by putting them in front of this suspect. So that's why they're going to wait for Metropolitan Division, who have armored vehicles that can withstand some, additional damages if that happens. They've also just told the units, okay, nobody else call him. Now that Metropolitan Division is involved, CNT, which is the crisis negotiation team, they will now take over any communication attempts with the suspect. I can tell you, started at Colfax and Ventura, right here next to us in Studio City, into Hollywood on the 101, back northbound on the 101, off at Barham. He went eastbound Barham, eastbound Forest Lawn, eastbound Zoo Drive, southbound 5. We got off the 5 in Lincoln Park, and we have just been going at a snail's pace eastbound Lincoln Park. Now we went northbound through Alhambra, through South Pasadena and into the city of Pasadena.
One thing I'm noticing is that, usually during pursuits with the LAPD, there is a primary and a secondary right behind those units, or that unit, but I'm noticing more, and I'm wondering if it's because of the nature of this want, that perhaps at the end officers really want to be there with that support just in case something should happen.
Yeah, and that was requested early on in this chase, and they call it for post-pursuit tactics because of, just as you mentioned, because of the want, because of the possibility that he is armed. The incident commander in this authorized additional units to be involved. You see Sky Cal's kind of getting blocked a little bit by a line of trees, but last check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there were 7 units back there. And remember, each of these patrol cars, and even the gang unit that's there, the second, that's that Crown Vic. Sometimes the gang unit guys roll like 4 deep in a car. So you're talking at least 2 cops per car that can be there at the end of this. And at this point, we don't believe there's anybody else in the car. We think it's just that driver.
And the good thing is, Mike, he's here on this long stretch of road, right, South Los Robles right now. He's really not coming into contact with a lot of drivers at this time, not a lot of people walking around. So, and as going as slow as he is, this is probably a good thing while units get into place to hopefully get him into custody, right?
Yeah, hopefully. And, we've seen this kind of back and forth here. I mean, we were, as inconvenient as it was, we talked about this, as inconvenient as it was for people that were on the 5 freeway to be stuck behind a very, very slow pursuit, you at least took out the risk of the public.
Right. Sure.
You took out the risk of other motorists. They were able to conduct traffic breaks. There was no pedestrians. It was a safer situation, albeit more frustrating for the people involved. Now you have, neighbors that can get mixed in, and especially when you're going, we talked about this at such slow speeds, you have more opportunity for people to come out and try to see what's going on. Yeah. I can tell you there was a moment in the pursuit a bit earlier where he drove past a parked car where the person was getting out and had the door open, and he slowed down, and the officers were concerned that he may try to, jump in and get a better functioning car, because as we pointed out, and I'll ask Jeff and Brian if we can try to get on the passenger side one more time just to show our viewers that front tire. That front tire is no good. We don't know how that happened. We don't know if it was, if the assault with a deadly weapon was when he hit a patrol car at the beginning and that's what caused the damage. It's really unclear right now what caused that. But we know that that tire, that front passenger tire, at this point is no good.
Has it been going this slow even on the freeway, Mike?
Yes.
Wow.
He was going on very slow. So he is going to approach an option to get on the 110 freeway right now. Right now he's on Glen Arm. And if I think actually this may be the intersection. Yeah, I think that was his opportunity to get on the 110. So he's not going to do that. He also passed the 710. He had an opportunity to get on the 710 freeway and didn't do that either. So obviously we don't know what's going on in this person's head and why he's running and what his game plan. Oh, car stopped.
No.
Are the train signals down? The train signals are down.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Haven't seen something like this before.
So that's good. There's the train going through. Okay, so at least he didn't try to jump the train tracks while that was happening. You see those officers, they've got the doors open, they've got their guns out, they're giving him commands, hoping that this will be the opportunity. Okay, look, and that's not going to take it. He's going to keep going. That's unfortunate. You would have hoped that if he's going to stop, maybe he'll come to his senses and decide this isn't worth it. Obviously, that's not the case, and here we are continuing westbound Glen Arm, going to come up on Fair Oaks here. And we're going to get around to the other side. If you look right there at the front passenger side tire, you can already kind of see that thing flapping around there. Now,
look at that.
There's a bit of back and forth. At first, I thought maybe it was the rubber of the tire that's stuck in there. Somebody else texted the desk, and they think it's the lining of the wheel well that's hanging out. Regardless, though, I don't think, and we'll come around a little bit more, I don't think he's got any tire left on that. Okay, right? See it right there?
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's on the rim. I can't totally tell, but I think he is on the rim right there.
It looks like it. Like the tire's just flapping and it's on the rim. Yeah. It does look like it.
Even with that, the car isn't really bobbing up and down or left and right. It's staying pretty much in control, Mike. Maybe that's why he's keeping it at such a slow pace.
Well, and that's what we talked about earlier. We've certainly seen cars in much worse shape be pushed a lot more to their limits. But I will say when that happens, that usually deteriorates the car much faster.
That's when we see sparks flying.
Right. So by him, having the bad front tire, but only going 13 miles an hour, he is in a sense kind of preserving the car, or at least making it last a little bit longer. If he were to be going a lot faster, it would wear much quicker, it would become more dangerous, and gas and all of those things. But this has been the status quo for about an hour now. We've been going at these incredibly slow speeds.
Mike, you mentioned that officers know who this person is inside the car. They've been actually been able to make contact with his wife, even a known gang member with a long rap sheet. Now, at what point during the pursuit did we know that officers knew who this was? Do we know that?
Immediately.
Okay.
They immediately knew who he was, and I don't know. I don't know if it's because they were in the plate or if they actually, visually saw him with their initial encounter. But they quickly were putting out, no, he's a known gang member. This is his name. Pardon me. This is the gang he's affiliated with. These are his multiple felonies. I mean, they knew who he was from jump.
Mike, and as slow as they're going, has a pit maneuver been at all factored into here, or is it just not going to happen?
It's like we talked about.
So slow.
So slow. Well, two things. It's so slow But it also, if you spin him around, you put him in front of the officers. If he's armed and dangerous, that's a concern. And like we've talked about before, you need a pit maneuver to be less than 35 miles an hour to be safe, but you also need it to have a little bit of speed to be effective. If you're going so slow, you're really not going to be able to do a ton. I mean, at this speeds, they probably could at least spin him around. But I will tell you, at this point, Metropolitan Division is already on their way. These patrol officers are not going to do anything but follow him and wait for Metropolitan Division to come handle it.
Sure, and you're talking about, if we try to pit maneuver or anything, it's very dangerous, as Mike was just talking about. If we, happen to know that this person could be armed, as we, suspect that this person is, spinning that car around, they could shoot at officers. You never know what could happen, and that's kind of the protocol they take, the LAPD, especially with someone who is armed or they believe to be armed at least. They're going to take those precautions to make sure they protect obviously the public and its officers.
And the Metropolitan Division, Mike, did you say it was coming in from North Hollywood?
No, Metropolitan Division is their office is near downtown. Now, what we don't know is were there officers already there? Do we have to have officers drive in, get the gear, then go out? It really kind of, the circumstances really just depend on, and on exactly what their scenario is at the moment.
Well, if you're just joining us here on CBS LA at 10, this is breaking news. A suspect wanted for assault with a deadly weapon on an officer. A pursuit happening right now, the LAPD in chase. We picked this up just before the 9 o'clock hour in North Hollywood along Colfax and Ventura. Again, this is a known gang member to police. In chase tonight, there's also a gang detective from the North Hollywood unit, the police department, and speaking with the suspect's wife, the LAPD has been trying to get some information from her and, possibly convince this person to pull over and give this up, because, this has been going on now for how long? For more than an hour now.
More than an hour, yeah.
And they have had no plans to stop. I mean, we've seen them stop, but not to the point of, getting out of their car yet. So,
yeah, and that, not that was a crazy move by any stretch of the imagination, but it's certainly a lot more than he's been doing.
Yeah.
The turn, the U-turn, I mean, we were going straight for 45 minutes without making a turn. So it is interesting. It's funny, you also see the 35 on the ground there as we're going about 19. It is interesting that he'd made that move. I want to bring up a question. Somebody texted to the desk. There it is. Given the slow speed and the amount of time on the same streets, why are they not trying more spike strips? So David, to answer your question, we don't believe they've tried any at all. And that goes back to the same thing we talk about with pit maneuvers, is in order to do a spike strip, you still have to put an officer in front of the car. Now, I will say that there have absolutely been times where they'll do it anyway if they can find, a good amount of cover or,
space.
Yeah, space or something to be able to put an officer behind while they do that. However, again, just like with pit maneuvers, when you're going this slow, he can very easily see a spike strip and drive right around it. It's interesting. Again, we don't want people to drive fast. We don't want these to be recklessly, even more dangerous than they already are. But when someone's moving a bit quicker, they're not as privy to being able to make that decision to go around the spike.
Especially
you got somebody
in the dark, too.
Right. You got somebody that's going 13 miles an hour. He's going to see a spike strip from a mile away and weave right around it. Not to say they won't try it, but again, and I want to be clear with our audience, at this point, because Metropolitan Division has been requested and is en route, these patrol officers, you will not see them doing anything. You won't see them doing pits. You will not see them doing spike strips. You won't see any of that happen because now Metropolitan Division is going to assume tactical control of this situation. And this will go on, unless the driver decides himself to stop, this will go on until Metropolitan Division comes in.
Well, tactical control, I mean, they'll pull away these ground units, and then what will they bring in to actually finish this chase? Because we usually see SWAT at the end of the chase when the person's already stopped.
Right.
So LAPD has a couple of options were we going to get on a freeway here? Let me look and see where we're at. LAPD, no, we're not. Okay, just it's Huntington Drive here. LAPD has a couple of options. We've seen them in the past. Certainly, they could bring in a. They could certainly bring in Bearcats, right? We have seen them do that. We also know that LAPD, at least in the past, has had armored excursions, armored SUVs that are a bit more nimble, a bit more maneuverable for a pursuit. We've seen them bring those in before to bring that to an end. So yes, you're right, Susie. They'll eventually pull back those patrol cars. Those armored vehicles will get in place. What kind of armored vehicles they're going to bring, we won't know until they get here.
And
it
the
could
tactics, too.
Yeah, it could be a Bearcat, could not. But what we generally have seen in the past is Metropolitan Division will bring those armored cars in and they'll just nudge them off the road. It won't be a pit maneuver. maneuver. They'll likely just box him in, cut him off, and force him to come to an end and be done. And then from there, those officers that are Metropolitan Division officers will be able to then order him out. CNT will handle the negotiations with him, and all of that will kind of be in a package deal. So once Metropolitan Division arrives, I believe that will probably happen pretty quick. They'll be able to get into position and be done with it.
And Mike, we've been in similar situations like this where they know the person by name, they know he has multiple felony arrests. They've been on the phone with him, with his wife. Why not, grab him tomorrow, grab him later? I mean, there must be something at play here as well, right?
There is, and again, we don't obviously are not privy to everything that the LAPD is privy to, but I will tell you that just based on the descriptions of that they've given this person, it's not going to be a they want to get him tomorrow situation. They want to get him tonight, especially. And look, I'm not saying that him running from the police like this, a potentially armed and dangerous suspect that's wanted for assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. I'm not saying that's not a dangerous thing in and of itself, but we're only going 20 miles an hour, right? This person is not, running down pedestrians and doing things like that. And it is generally those wild driving habits that then force LAPD to say, let's rethink what we're doing here. And because we are consistently between 15 and 20 miles an hour, and look, now you got people on the side of the road there, kind of yelling and hollering as they're going past. But because we're at these very low speeds, the risk to the public is less than if we were at very high speeds, which makes them say, you know what, we can keep playing this game for a little while longer. Metropolitan's on the way. We'll let them handle it.
All right, so a very slow chase tonight, and it hasn't gone much faster than this really throughout the entire hour and some minutes that we've been following this here on CBS LA. On both 9 and 10 o'clock now. And again, this person driving very slow, wanted for assault with a deadly weapon on an officer. We know that the right wheel front tire of this car is compromised, but we don't know how that happened. That could have something to do with that want that we're talking about, assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. Oftentimes we see that weapon being the car itself.
Yeah.
So that could have been the case too, but a lot of questions tonight. And Mike, you had mentioned that in speaking with his wife, there were some concerning statements. Obviously, we don't want to give anything away, for police officers and get in the way of their investigation. But concerning statements, that means that's the urgency in all this.
Yeah, concerning statements, and somebody else, was just messaging me too. We were just kind of talking about these concerning statements, and what also plays into the LAPD's tactics, right? Those concerning statements will change the way they handle this. Even though Metropolitan Division's on the way, even given that, they're not going to want to do anything to escalate the situation if they don't have to. And if you have a situation, again, where we're kind of at these low speeds, there's not obviously no risk to the public, but less risk to the public than if this person was driving 75, 80 miles an hour. And given the information they have after speaking with the wife, that may be, playing into their decisions here to not do a pit maneuver, not do spikes, et cetera, et cetera. When you can have Metropolitan Division come in, there's minimal risk to the officers if they're in those armored vehicles. You can just nudge them to the side of the road, especially when we're only going 15 miles an hour. Look, we've seen armored vehicles bring a pursuit to an end that's going like 90, 85 miles an hour, and that's dangerous and a little scary to watch. But when you're going at these slow speeds, it will not take much at all for Metropolitan Division to just come in, shove him to the side of the road, and then hopefully he gets out. If not, they'll negotiate with him.
Yeah, now traveling through El Sereno here, Mike, and you kind of wonder what's going on in this driver's head. He's got an incredible talent of finding these long stretches of road.
Oh, yeah.
Here he is on Huntington Drive going what looks like probably just under 10 miles an hour here. And look at all those officers behind him. And again, what is going through his mind? He just does not want to pull over. And knowing what we know, he's a danger. He's still a danger no matter what.
And the LAPD, again, not giving this one up, not relinquishing it. And they really want to get this person tonight. As you can see, usually during LAPD pursuits, we're seeing maybe 1, 2, up to 3 cars, usually just 2. But as you can count,
7 or 8, right?
exactly, units behind this person. And we do believe that is because of the fact that they want to make sure that they are ready to go when this person should decide to stop finally.
So, Mike, you're saying in each one of those cars, most likely 2 officers. So you're looking at 16 officers on scene right here. when this eventually comes to an end.
Yeah, at least. And like I said, sometimes the gang units, they'll roll 3 or 4 deep. So you may have more than that amount of officers. But yeah, you've got plenty of officers that'll be in there. And again, we're coming back into the city of LA, but when we were out, Alhambra, South Pasadena, they had, allied agencies available as well. CHP's been notified because we have been on and off the freeway here. And sorry, just listen to some of the radio here. But yeah, you have plenty of officers to be able to bring this to an end when it does in fact end.
Mike, do we know what some of those felony arrests are, prior arrests? I mean, we know obviously assault with a deadly weapon on an officer is a felony, right?
Yeah, absolutely is a felony. And no, they didn't get specific on what the other felony arrests were for. Just that they. Sorry, just listen to some radio traffic here.
We can almost hear it as well. It's just so much going on there, right?
Yeah. No, we don't know what the other felonies are for. But we do know that he has previous felony arrests. Now, what I don't know is if he is wanted for more felonies aside from the assault with a deadly weapon, or if that's kind of what they're at. They were just putting that in as well. So we'll see here. I think, Cal, are you ready for my computer? I just wanted to show people. Thank you.
Oh, so wow.
So this is the police helicopter here. The trail that you're looking at. So
the orange line,
it started over here at Colfax and Ventura. And give me one second. I'm going to pull up my little drawing tools here for you. And it started over here at Colfax and Ventura. Oh, it's not gonna, there it is. Right in this area right here. So, kind of here. And then we came down Ventura, we got on the 101, and this is where you can kind of see the police tail. So then we got off, we were on surface streets, we came back northbound on the 101, off at Barham, over here on Forest Lawn, Zoo Drive, southbound on the 5. And I want you to point this out, and this is one of the things that we as assignment editors look for when we are tracking helicopters. See the circular motion that the helicopter has been making? So that's generally how we know it's a pursuit. And that's how we generally know it's a very slow pursuit, because the helicopter is low. This helicopter, well, right now he's about 1,500 feet because there's 2 of them. And the other one's down at about 900 feet. And you can see a little bit of a tighter circle here, a tighter orbit.
So 2 LAPD choppers?
2 LAPD helicopters are over it. And they have been pretty consistently for the whole time. And so you see these circles and they're making those loops because he's not going fast enough for them to just fly. They've got to do these orbits to be able to stay on top of them and have the flight officer be able to look out the window and on the camera and all of those things. But it just shows you, kind of the movements that we have made. When we got off the freeway here in Lincoln Heights and we came back up, we went eastbound and then northbound and then westbound and then southbound. And, we're kind of coming back into one of the areas we've already been. Thanks, Kel, for showing that. I just wanted to kind of give that illustration. I also want to point out, too, that we talk about this all the time, and we've talked about, are they going home? Are they going to a familiar place? They may have that information now because they've been speaking with the wife, but we do know when this first started, they didn't have a good address on them. So certainly that could have changed. They may have additional information as this happens. Brian, give me one more look at that tire there. I'm curious as to how that's holding up. It's that front passenger. Yeah, see, so, and I can't tell, guys. I don't know if there's a little bit of damage to the, kind of looks like there is, right near the headlight, maybe to the front of the car as well. So I'm wondering if, that was the original situation here, was that he collided with an LAPD car, before the pursuit, and then that's what turned it into the pursuit.
Mike, why did they want him to pull over? Do you know how that came about?
I don't. And, but what I do know is, again, these were gang officers that did this. Gang officers may have just been conducting either an enforcement stop or, hey, we know you, what are you doing over here kind of thing. And then that may have just been what precipitated the whole thing. So it's hard to tell what the original, Okay, so Chopper, can you get around to the driver's side? His window's down. I'd love
something just fell off the car there, Mike.
Yeah, I'd love to get a look at him. It sounds like his window's down. He was flicking a cigarette out just a second ago. We'll see if it's. Looks like it's. Oh, there it is. It looks like his hand's kind of coming in and out every now and again, or it looks like I can't tell if it's rolled up again. But, that's the most movement we've seen from him. I mean, this is not a person who's been going at terribly high speeds, making crazy maneuvers, and doing all those other things we've seen on chases before.
And Mike, look at the thing that we saw by the wheel well. Looks like it's right by the door now.
Yeah.
In the middle of the car. That's the same thing, right, that we were looking at earlier?
Yeah, on the right. Yeah, on the right side of the car. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And that's it's whatever that is. Maybe, and it's hard to tell exactly, but maybe one of the reasons that we haven't seen, any sparks from the tire yet. He's maybe not going that fast, but that rubber may be providing him
still
a little bit of
yeah. Yeah, so as far as we know, it wasn't a spike strip that compromised the tire there, but we don't know exactly what happened. But we do know that this is a known gang member to officers, and they know this person. They didn't have a good address on this person the last time they checked, so we don't know if that's changed since then. But we do also know that they have been in contact with his wife and have been speaking to her. We don't know exactly about what, but we do know that this is something that they don't want to relinquish. They don't want to let this go. You know, oftentimes we might see them say, you know what, again, like you said, Juan, let's catch up with this person tomorrow. We know they're a gang member. We know who they are. You know, let's go visit them later on. But for some reason, they want this person tonight.
And if you're on parole, most likely you do have to report your home address, where you're living, check in with a parole officer, do occasional checks. And maybe, Mike, that may have been the situation earlier today where he had kind of gone MIA for a while. Yeah. And I'm just thinking about what they wanted to pull over for. And then basically here we are now. And kind of would make sense why they couldn't necessarily tack him down to an address earlier tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Juan, I want to bring in a question here from one of our viewers that texted the desk. Herb, there it is. Is there a canine unit in the line of black and whites? That's a great question because most agencies, the answer would be yes. So most agencies, most smaller agencies, the way their canine works is the canine unit is a patrol unit that is out and about. LAPD does not function that way. LAPD functions where canine is a part of Metropolitan Division. So just like you would have to request SWAT, you would have to request canine. They're not just out on patrol to join pursuits like this. That is, I will say, unusual for most agencies, and I think it's because of the size of LAPD, which is probably why they function that way. I know sheriff's functions similar, but not exactly the same. I think some of their canine units are actually out in the field. But, you know, LAPD, they're not going to be in the line. We've seen that, you know, CHP, we've seen smaller agencies, they'll have canines that can join the pursuit. That's not the scenario here. LAPD would bring canine from Metropolitan Division, but we're already doing that. And there's not a graphic for Kelly, who I know is so helping me with these, but somebody did ask, is there a delay for Metropolitan Division? Danielle from Rancho Santa Margarita asked, is there a delay from the Metropolitan Division from responding? Seems like it's been a while since that was the plan.
They've been reporting that, huh?
And that's a fair point, but I just want Danielle and, you know, other people to know, again, Metropolitan Division is downtown. If these guys were not already at Metropolitan Division, which at 10 o'clock at night, if they weren't out doing something else, they probably weren't. They're responding in from wherever they live to Metropolitan Division, have to pick up the equipment, and then come join this pursuit. So it's not as fast as people would think it is. And it seems like, oh my gosh, how are they not here yet? This is going on forever. But it's just not that fast of a turnaround because
they're not on standby.
They're not sitting at the office waiting to get a call, right? I mean, you know, they are during business hours, or again, in certain circumstances, they may already have been there, but most scenarios, they're coming from home or from wherever they're at, picking up the equipment and then coming, you know, to join this chase.
So, Mike, when we see a canine unit at the end of a pursuit joining other officers, that had been a prior request from Metropolitan then.
Right, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say very infrequently, if ever, do we see that with LAPD. If we're seeing a chase and there's a canine at the end of the chase, it's likely CHP or a smaller agency or something else. I don't remember, and I could be wrong, but I don't remember a time that LAPD canine has been involved in a chase. It usually will come at the end if they're doing a perimeter search or if it turns into a standoff, certainly. But usually at the end of a chase, if we're seeing a canine, it's usually from a different agency.
Yeah, I'm probably confusing it with CHP having their canine units with them at the end of a pursuit.
And I was just going to point out that if this were CHP, you know, the tactics might be a little different. This might have been stopped a long time ago. We have different agencies that do different things differently, you know, and protocols that they must follow. And their supervising officer has to approve it too.
Right, and I'll say, you know, too, oh, sorry, I thought that's still the Crown Vic. I'll say, too, that I think, you know, you guys, I'd like you to weigh on this, too. I would say that LAPD probably falls in the middle. You know, I would put CHP as probably the more aggressive agency that, you know, not questioning anyone's tactics, but I think probably would have already done a pit and you know, tried to make a maneuver to end this. I'll say Sheriff is, I would say, probably more timid than LAPD, at least when it comes to what they'll chase and how they'll do it. So I would put LAPD about in the middle of those three agencies and how they handle pursuits. And then, of course, you get out in the Inland Empire and they'll shoot you from a helicopter. So it's a bit different depending on where you're at. But, you know, in this situation, I would put LAPD about in the middle.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks,
Yeah,
depending on
that's true.
what agency you're with and what they're going to do. And the fact that this driver right now is not on a freeway, CHP is totally out of play here. LAPD is going to probably see this coming to an end.
Yeah, they probably will. I mean, and we're in Lincoln Heights, so we're back squarely in LAPD's jurisdiction, and we've been here before. We're coming back to an area that we've already passed through once. He's going to have an opportunity at some point. I think he can get on a freeway here. The 5 will be where he's going to be. Yeah, I think we're either going to go under it or he'll be able to get on it here pretty quickly. But yeah, that's.
Oh, we got to ask that question, right? We always ask
there's
during
the freeway.
pursuits is why is this person coming back to the same place? Why
Yeah.
are they not getting away further out somewhere? Are they familiar with this area? Is that why they keep, in this area in East LA and San Gabriel Valley? That's kind of where we've been in the San Fernando Valley too. But, it makes you wonder, is this person maybe comfortable with this area? So they're just kind of sticking with the surface streets and saying, you know what, let me just see until my luck runs out on the surface streets.
Well,
makes
and
you
with this
wonder.
guy, with this guy in particular, it's hard because he hasn't, and just from watching him, it doesn't seem like he's made any deliberate moves. He's just kind of been going where he's going, and whatever road is least resistant to him with that bad front tire is kind of been what he's doing. And I think we just kind of so happen to be on the long straight road. I mean, we've been on this road. It was Huntington Drive. It's turned into a different road now, or Mission. I guess we kind of veered off onto Mission, but we've been pretty much going at this kind of straight angle for as long as he can. And I think, again, that has to do with his inability to really get any kind of high speeds. We had people ask earlier, do you think he's on the phone with people? Probably. At least his wife, we know for sure at one point that he was probably on the phone with her. But somebody asked, well, do you think maybe he's making a plan, et cetera, et cetera? Maybe, but we've talked about this before. The plans to switch cars and to do those kinds of things generally work when you can get distance on the cops that are following you. And at this point, this guy is not able to put any distance between him and the officers behind him. Excuse me. So trying to find an opportunity to jump into a different car or do something different is probably not going to be a move for him, because they're going to be right there if he tries to do any of that.
That's true.
And Mike, you mentioned those police choppers, one of them being at 900 feet. Those choppers, if your home or apartment building is below those choppers, most likely you're hearing this activity right above your home tonight.
And for the second time. I mean, this is the second time that he's been coming through this area. We're going to end up coming through downtown soon. He's on Mission. He's going to come under the 101 here in a second, and that will put him kind of more square into downtown, still on the east side of the Los Angeles River. Ironically, passing LAPD's heliport, so we're right there for them. SkyCal, by the way, just some housekeeping, about 30 minutes of fuel left because this has been going on for so long. Making a turn on Cesar Chavez here now, which will put him back under the 10, and then coming up on Union Station is where he's headed right now.
Yeah, coming up on about an hour and a half now that we've been over this chase, and it's been pretty much status quo. Not a lot of moves, as Mike was talking about, not a lot of crazy turns or maneuvers that we can speak of driving at this speed. Picking up 24, 25 miles per hour earlier, I was going, wow, he's picking up a little bit of speed. But slowing down once again, and those officers, as we mentioned, many LAPD officers, which is pretty unusual during a chase. Behind this person. And again, we are waiting for the Metropolitan Division of the LAPD to come in, switch things up here, and maybe bring in some of their more, heavier vehicles to do something about this and bring it to an end. But for now, as Mike was mentioning, with that request out there, with the Metropolitan Division coming in, the LAPD officers here on scene right now chasing this person cannot do anything, as a pit maneuver or spike strips. We were talking about spike strips earlier with these roads that stretch forever, not going very fast. The LAPD can get well ahead of this person, depending on the street they are on. But let's say that they knew that this person kept on going, or we're going to keep on going on that same street. They can get ahead of this person, get in place, put those spike strips out, hide. That officer has to hide so that, they're out of the view of this suspect who's coming. But, they could do things like that, but they can't right now because they are on hold to make sure that they're waiting for the Metropolitan Division, i.e. SWAT, to come in and handle things. So that's where we're waiting for, what we've been waiting for. But in the meantime, these officers have not let this up.
Right by Union Station right now, as you see here. And Mike, this is one of those rare pursuits where we're basically watching a guy drive around town today or tonight, and officers in tow.
Yeah, officers in tow, making a turn onto Alameda. This is going to put us kind of, more smack into downtown. We'll be coming
Chinatown.
past, LAPD headquarters here in a second. Now, the good news is about the movements that he's made and getting himself closer into downtown is we are going to get closer to Metropolitan Division, which will, cut the response time a bit for those officers. But of course, downtown is risky. Downtown is difficult. It's dangerous. There's, more people. There's more pedestrians. There's taller buildings. I don't think LAPD will have any kind of a difficult time, being right behind him because we're doing okay. Back on the freeway, so we're going to go northbound on the 101, which we have not been on the freeway for a very long time.
Yeah.
And look, now we're picking up speed.
Picking up a little
Since
speed
the 9
Mike.
o'clock hour, Mike.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I don't know, kind of what was the deciding factor. Keep going to the right, Brian. He's going to be he's on the sound wall's blocking him.
I wonder if he was dragging that piece of plastic for a while, Mike, and we saw it about maybe 10 minutes ago fall off. Maybe he feels a little more confident to drive at higher rates of speed. Obviously, he's doing it here.
Right. Yeah, obviously. And, we're moving a little bit faster, still in the 40s. On the northbound side of the 101, hopefully Metropolitan Division will get here, soon enough to bring this to an end. And just as we say, he gets up to 40s, but now we're slowing it back down and kind of, slowing it up a little bit.
Well, this could switch things up. As far as tactics go, the CHP could get involved if this person perhaps stays on the freeway, Mike?
Yeah, and that was originally they were talking about CHP getting involved when he was on the 5 for ever and ever and ever. And then they ultimately, right as CHP was discussing it, then he got off and CHP was like, okay, well, let us know if he gets back on. I would say at this point, though, they probably will not get CHP involved because Metropolitan Division's on the way. So because their Metro Division is going to come in here and handle this, they're not going to want CHP to take it over because that'll start the process all over again. CHP would have to request an allied agency to come do all that. So
At the end of the chase.
Yeah, at the end of the chase. So at this point, I think that LAPD is just going to keep it, and they'll, have Metropolitan Division bring this to an end.
And when they keep it, Mike, that means that CHP does not request, or they don't request help from the CHP. That's basically how it happens, right?
Sorry, say that one more time.
Right now, LAPD is going to stay on top of this.
Yeah.
That means that they're not asking CHP for help, or CHP is asking to join the pursuit?
Right. No, they're going to keep this. And again, earlier on they requested CHP, but now that they've, Metropolitan Division's coming, they're going to bring in the armored vehicles, all of that.
Yeah,
They're not going to want CHP to get mixed into this. And CHP is not going to want to get mixed into this. We've talked about CHP. They want to keep, tactical control of everything.
Yeah.
And they're not going to want to,
Mix it up, right?
Right. Play that game.
101 northbound could be heading back into the San Fernando Valley at some point here.
Yeah.
But still going at the same speeds that we saw on surface streets. It makes you wonder, people driving by on the freeway going, oh my goodness, what is going on here? But as you can see, this row of police officers behind this person, and that's what this chase has looked like this entire time. As we sort of, move away from the downtown area where we are expecting the Metropolitan Division of the LAPD to respond, we're still waiting for that to happen. But in the meantime, these officers have been following this person for a good hour and a half now, a little bit more than that even. We picked it up just before the 9 o'clock hour, just shortly before CBS LA at 9. And this was in North Hollywood along Colfax and Ventura, which is really close to our studios here in Studio City. And again, this is a person wanted for assault with a deadly weapon on an officer. He is a known gang member. They know who this person is. Whether or not they have a good address on this person, unclear right now, but we do know they have made contact with the suspect's wife. They have been speaking with her. There have been some concerning statements that were talked about earlier. And, the right front tire of this car, as far as we know, has been blown.
Is out, yeah.
And they're still going, though.
Well, they know him by name. They know he has multiple felony arrests. They know his record. As you were mentioning, Susie, they may or may not have had a good address for him at the moment, and that may have been the reason they were trying to pull him over here in Studio City. And why was he here in Studio City?
Right.
Where is he originally from, Mike? Do we know?
No, and that was the thing is originally when they were talking about this, they didn't have a good last address on him.
Okay.
Again, that probably maybe could have changed after talking to his wife and, doing that whole thing. So they may know that now, but at the time they did not. I want to ask Brian, while we're on the kind of freeway, just kind of plugging along on the northbound 101, if you can pull out, I just want to see if Metropolitan is even in the back or, kind of catching up and just look at the line of cop cars because there are certainly a lot of them. And
Would they come up from the back?
They
Mike?
would. And Brian, going to the cop car that's just about to go under the bridge. So that one, the third one up from the bottom, go up a little bit further. No, that's just a gang unit. Okay. So I was looking at first I couldn't tell if that was a Metropolitan car, but that's just an unmarked, or that's a slick top gang unit. So these are all the patrol units that have been, involved in this from the North Hollywood Division that have been chasing this, and we're headed back towards North Hollywood Division. We're going, northbound 101 here. Just listening to the radio. Just the George unit supervisor is just reiterating speeds are safe. We're maintaining good distance. Speeds are about 40 miles an hour. There's no traffic, because what we're also doing here is, doing a traffic break behind this.
Yes.
Well, Mike, I was going to say, look, traffic southbound is definitely heavier than going northbound. I know they just got on the freeway, so is it just the time of day where there's just, or time of evening where there's just less traffic heading northbound right now?
Well,
or is there a break happening ahead of this?
Yeah,
too?
so there's two things happening. Brian, pull out. There is a break all the way at the end of this, and you have LAPD units that are running that break, keeping the traffic from coming further. The other benefit of going this slow is, see, you got it way back there. You got, that actually might be CHP running the break, but you got those units all the way back there.
That's quite a while.
That's quite a while running that break, keeping those cars back. The other thing that's happening is, Brian, you can go back to the car, thank you. As we're going this slow, he's not catching up to traffic that's already on the freeway. Right? So those people are not mixed into this either. So you're kind of in a good scenario here where he's going slow, which is obviously wildly inconvenient for the people that are behind him, but he's not going fast enough to catch up to people. This also gives the opportunity for the officers that we're kind of in Olympic Division, coming into Hollywood Division. If they want them to, they can also block on-ramps and keep people from mixing in to this as it happens. So, they've got that at play here. They're, just kind of following them. We heard from the George unit supervisor. George unit, by the way, is a gang unit. The supervisor that's with this, that, hey, we're maintaining what we got. We're waiting for Metropolitan Division. They're going to come in and they're going to, bring this to an end here.
Well, we keep asking the question, why this person is running in the first place, right? What could be all the different reasons behind why they are evading officers tonight? Why are they just not pulling over, saying, I know you know me as a gang member, let me pull over? But instead, they're risking it and adding to those charges and saying, you know what, I'm just going to risk it right now and see if I can get away. And, the fact that this person has been driving for an hour and about 40 minutes now, longer than that even now, makes you believe that this person really wants to get away from officers, and these officers really want this person. So again, that offense, whatever it is, assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer, it could be so much more than that.
And if he has something in the car that may be violating his parole, if he is on parole, right, a weapon, drugs, whatever it might be.
Sorry, I'm just listening to SWAT's giving out a, give me just a second, sorry.
Right, Mike's listening into the police radio there, Susie. He's going to bring us up to date any minute now. I'm wondering, Suze, if they're still talking to his family members. Is it a three-way call? Is the wife trying to tell him, look, please just pull over. Bring this to an end. It's only going to get worse if you don't pull over.
It makes you wonder if the Metropolitan Division, the crisis negotiators, have already been in contact with her. Was it those officers or LAPD officers behind this person who are contacting the wife there, to tell this person to maybe pull over, convince this person to, maybe give this up. But so far, we haven't seen any sign of that. The only thing we have seen is this person stopping for just a minute in front of a train tracks, and the arms were down.
The arms came down, right?
Exactly, and so they couldn't go. But right after those arms went back up, boy, they were just back at it again.
In cases in the past where a loved one does get the person to pull over, convinces them to give themselves up. So apparently that's still not happening right now. Just under 30 miles an hour here on the 101 northbound and Santa Monica Boulevard in Western right there, if you know the area. Mike, he's in Hollywood already. He's going to be heading into the Cahuenga Pass eventually, and then right into the San Fernando Valley.
He is. And guys, I was listening to some of the radio here. So we have a lot of new information on this suspect. So what we know here is that the assault, first of all, SWAT is watching our broadcast as they kind of get in position here. So we know that they're able to see what's going on because they're watching us. We know that the suspect has a very long criminal history. I'm just going to list off a few of them. Burglary, narcotics, assault with a deadly weapon firearm, involuntary manslaughter. The assault with a deadly weapon incident happened 3 days ago. So this is not fresh. Excuse me, whatever the assault with a deadly weapon on the officer was, and it sounds like the radio traffic was breaking up a little bit, but I do believe that the assault with a deadly weapon was with the vehicle. I don't know if the vehicle's been in this shape for the last 3 days and this is how he's been driving it around, or if something happened today, we've seen this all the time where people drive on the shoulders, they hit something, they, self-spike as we like to call it. But the original want, which was the assault with a deadly weapon, happened 3 days ago. And they've been chasing him since, tonight when they finally got him just before 9 o'clock, that's when they spotted him again. So that's where that all comes into play. And again, a very long criminal history. They do know that he is a documented gang member, that somebody is known to be armed and dangerous. So those are all the things that they're contending with. They are, working to get those armored vehicles in place. Again, we are, in the vicinity generally of Metropolitan Division. So at least we're not, the north end of the valley or San Pedro or somewhere where it would take them a lot longer to get those armored vehicles in place.
Micah, with a rap sheet like this, you just burglary, narcotics, involuntary manslaughter, assault with a deadly weapon. I know a lot of viewers have to be wondering, as I am, why is this guy out on the street?
Right.
Why is he driving a car? I mean, he should be behind bars as far as,
Well, and we should be clear with the caveat of when we provide this criminal history, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are all convictions, right? So when you're talking to like a district attorney, they're going to talk in terms of convictions. When you're talking to law enforcement, they're going to talk in terms of arrests. Okay. So we need to be clear that what they say his previous criminal history is does not necessarily mean he was convicted of all of those things, or that when it went through the court process he didn't plea out or charges weren't dropped, or et cetera, et cetera. But this is their previous arrest history with him, and this is what they've dealt with him with before. So
still
that's
pretty serious.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why they want these guys to have all of this information. And again, when people ask why haven't they pitted him, why haven't they boxed him in, those are all the things that they're taking into consideration when they make those decisions. And the gang unit supervisor, they immediately got on the phone with the Metropolitan Lieutenant. They made the discussions. What are we going to do, et cetera, et cetera. And as soon as Metropolitan said, all right, you know what, we're going to roll, that's when these units said, great, we're going to hang back. And the supervisor said, no one else try to contact him. No one else try to call him. That's going to be up for Metropolitan Division to do with the negotiators. They'll make those calls. They're going to take tactical control of this, and they'll make those decisions.
Well, we know SWAT is inbound right now, Mike, very close to being at the scene here, wherever this person may end up. But we also know that, this person being wanted for this, the fact that they're driving so slow, it makes you wonder, like, what is going on here? Is it the fact that the car, the tire is out? Is that why they're driving so slow? Are they driving slow just to see how long they can go on for to evade police?
He has plenty of gas.
It makes you wonder all these things, because why are they going so slow? Why aren't they just, driving fast so they can hurry up and get away from police, right?
Mike, and do you think it's going to be an armored vehicle that's going to come in from behind and just kind of like maybe push him towards the center median, or stop in front?
Yeah, I think once they get the armored vehicles in there, they'll probably, one will go right behind, one will go in front. They may try to bring one to the side as well, and then just kind of, usher him over. They're not going to do a pit maneuver with an armored vehicle, especially when you have multiple pieces of armor. I just was listening to some more radio traffic. So 3 days ago, when they originally had contact with this guy, they went out there for a domestic violence call. So that's why they originally went out there. While they were out on the domestic violence call, that is when he allegedly ran his car into their car. So that's where we get the assault with a deadly weapon. He took off, they lost him, they came back, they took the domestic violence report, and then obviously put him in the system for the assault with a deadly weapon. Gang unit had been trying to track him. Sounds like they were maybe pinging his phone. And that's how they spotted him. And, here we are.
How long does SWAT usually take about in situations like this? Would you guess?
It's not the answer the viewers are going to want to hear, but up to an hour, a little bit longer than that. Again, the SWAT guys are coming from, and they're rolling code 3. I'm listening to SWAT right now, and I hear their sirens. They're rolling lights and sirens to get to Metropolitan Division.
So they're on the way.
To get the armor. Well, I don't know that they're necessarily on the way here. They're on the way to Metropolitan Division. And I I just don't know whereabouts they are. I know there was reference like, okay, he was getting closer to Metro, but obviously we're now moving away from that as we go northbound here on the 101, as you mentioned, into the Cahuenga Pass.
Yeah.
Into the Cahuenga Pass here on the northbound side of the 101. So, they're going to go all meet up. They'll get their gear and they'll come out here. But yeah, unfortunately, it can take them a second. And they're going to want to coordinate tactics, and they're going to want to make sure that they've got all the information as we go even slower here northbound on the 101 through the Cahuenga Pass. So lots going on here with this guy.
Yeah, could end up in North Hollywood where this all started again. If they keep going here on the 101 to perhaps the 170 cut over. But as far as we know, this person not wanting to give this up, and neither does the LAPD tonight. They have been on this chase the entire time, and it has been on surface streets. It has been on freeways, but most of the time surface streets, Juan, going very slow.
Very slow. And just passing now the Hollywood Bowl, the Ford Theater right there in the Cahuenga Pass. Very familiar with that area right there. So he's now, look at that, Susie, moving towards the center median. So again, in just another minute or so, he's going to be passing Universal Studios and right into the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, this is an area, again, like I said, this person has been to already tonight, all these double backs, if you will, to places that he's already been to. We know that they were on Barham, just off the 101 earlier, off Forest Lawn, Zoo Drive, then went on to the 5 southbound, which is just all around here. It makes you wonder why they're going in circles like this. Do they mean to?
Yep, and look at that. There's some cones on the freeway too, Mike. So you may be approaching some
construction.
freeway,
Let me see what they got going on there. And again, this started in North Hollywood, and these are North Hollywood gang units, and there was a North Hollywood call. So he may be trying to work his way back up to a familiar area. We don't really know what the detour through the San Gabriel Valley was about, but this is where we started, and you see the cones there on the left. CHP likely running some construction operations. I don't necessarily see it on the CAD. That doesn't mean it's not happening, obviously, but at least holding some lanes right there. Can you, Brian, pull out just a touch for me? I just want to see if there's any construction that he's going to run up against. CHP has been well aware, like we talked about, at this point they're not going to get involved because LAPD's already got Metropolitan Division coming, and they're just going to, handle that. I don't actually, oh, there it is. Okay, so you got road work there. Right coming up on his left side. So hopefully he just stays to the right shoulder and, lets that all be and, doesn't make this any worse than it already is. And we just kind of scoop past them and go about our day. But we've been here before. We're here on the 101. We're passing Universal Studios at this point. This is kind of where we started all of this. Again, Colfax and Ventura is where this all, went down.
There's Barham right there. It looks like he's going to go right under Barham.
Yeah.
Wow, this is going now almost onto 2 hours that we have been following this chase.
And actually, 2 hours since it started.
Since it started?
At this minute. It started at 8:50.
Wow.
So here we are at 10:50. SkyCal's gonna have to go get some fuel. We're at least getting closer to Van Nuys Airport, which is good. But
and more construction right there, Mike.
And more construction. He goes past it. They've been doing some of this nighttime road work there on the northbound side of the 101. But Metropolitan Division, is on their way. Hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. But we never can get in the mind of these people, but what's the plan here? And you look at somebody like this who's got this extensive criminal history. They're obviously probably whatever happens now is they're probably going to do a bit of time for this, and maybe they're just trying to wait it out and get some last minute moments of freedom here, but before this all comes to an end. But at this point, it is going to come to an end for him.
Yeah, it's true. And they're going about 45 miles. And then bring it back down to 20 miles something. It's so funny, the pattern. There really has been no pattern aside from driving slower at this person. But again, it makes you wonder, why is this person driving so slowly?
Yeah, and I can't remember a car going this long,
this slowly,
with one tire missing, right?
Right. That's another thing. This person has one tire that's not all there. Obviously, the rubber, we saw it come off earlier off the front right tire there. So I know that car's not driving like it should. So maybe that is why they're driving so slowly. But again, they're picking up speeds for just a second there. again, doing it again, you know, it's almost like they have this knee-jerk reaction to stop every time, or they, you know, knee-jerk reaction to press the accelerator every time they see the lights of those police officers behind them and suddenly realize, oh, there they are again.
Yeah, 101 now passing Lancashire. Somebody texted the desk and asked, and you know, we get this every time we do a pursuit. Where's the grappler? Well, we've talked about this before. The grappler is not a tool that the LAPD has. In fact, as far as we know, there is only one agency in Southern California that actually has the grappler, and that's the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. We have asked in the past about you know, whether or not other agencies plan to get it, do they want it, et cetera, et cetera. We've gotten no real answers from people, just that they're always looking into it, et cetera. But at this point, you know, the Riverside County Sheriff's Department is the only agency that we are aware of that has the grappler technology.
Yeah, but with any stopping techniques, Mike, the assault with a deadly weapon, that changes it all.
It changes it all, and then his criminal history. I mean, we've gone over this, but you know, briefly, and again, we need to be clear with viewers. This is arrest history, not necessarily conviction history. But we have heard burglary, narcotics, assault with a deadly weapon, involuntary manslaughter, domestic violence. Just goes on and on and on, which is why that decision was made pretty quickly, albeit a while ago, to have Metropolitan Division come into this. And again, for our viewers that are asking, where is Metropolitan Division? Well, it's not as simple as they roll out from a station. It's you gotta request them, you gotta get them in. They come in from wherever they're at. They get to Metropolitan Division, and then they get to the scene. So that's kind of what we're up against. They've done their briefing. That's what we heard on the radio. That's where we got some information. We know that they are actually monitoring the pursuit via us. We heard them say that they're watching it on our feed, so they know what's going on.
170, Mike. It looks like he's taking the 170.
170, which is
back to North Hollywood.
Will be a new location for him. You know, we previously were here in Studio City, so yeah, if he's going to commit to the 170 northbound, he'll get further into the North Hollywood area instead of the 101 where he was on. So here we are. We are going into, I guess we're starting hour 3 of this marathon pursuit of the suspect wanted for an assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. That happened 3 days ago after LAPD responded to a domestic violence call. When those officers arrived, according to what we know, they encountered the suspect. He drove his car at them and then took off. They were not able to locate him. They came back and took that domestic violence report. And that's where we are at this moment, with them still chasing him northbound on the 170 as we just committed off the 101 freeway.
And you know, the 170 at this time of evening, it's going to be very light traffic, I believe. The 170 will head up to the 5 freeway. You can either go towards Valencia or the 118 freeway at some point. So he's going to have a really, look at this, as we open up the shot here, not a lot of traffic ahead.
It's true, you know, and you know, the fact that this was 3 days ago, assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer with this car that we're talking about too, by the way. And you know, it's been 3 days, and you wonder what happened tonight. How did this all begin? Did this person just happen to get pulled over for something else, and they're like, wait, this is our guy?
Well, what we were listening to is that gang units had been tracking him. And
picking up speed.
Yeah, picking up speed again, 40 miles an hour, 50 almost. That's the fastest. At this point, it's probably the fastest that we've seen him, and it looks like he's actually exiting off at Magnolia. So 170 at Magnolia is where he's going now. This is the first time. So if he makes a right turn eastbound onto Magnolia, he's going to go past the park. There's the Arts District over there. Or if he goes west, he's going to come more into like the Valley Village area, which is what he's doing. So he's crossing under the 170 freeway now. And again, this is where the first time that we have actually seen him back off on Surface Street. This seems very deliberate. His earlier moves kind of seemed like maybe he didn't really know where he was going and was, you know, kind of just aimlessly trying to figure out a plan here. This one, you know, he got onto the 170, got off at Magnolia here, and we are now westbound on Magnolia, coming up on Colfax, which ironically, Colfax and Ventura is where all of this started. So he's going to be passing, there's a couple schools in the area. North Hollywood High School is going to be to his, the top of the screen here as we come up through Colfax. Lots of neighborhoods in this area. It's unclear if, you know, we don't know obviously if he knows this area, if this is, you know, familiar to him. We do know that a bunch of this started in North Hollywood. Northbound turn onto Colfax now. That's North Hollywood High School there on the left. Making this kind of turn here on northbound onto Colfax. This definitely seems a bit more deliberate at this point, and less aimless. Earlier it was just kind of, he was just picking a straight road and going with it. This though, he seems to be making some pretty deliberate turns here. So we're northbound Colfax in through the heart of kind of Valley Village area right now. Our next big major is going to be Chandler. We'll see what he does there. We're still, again, waiting for Metropolitan Division, this time going around traffic that's going to be at this red light here. So he's going to go through that red light. LAPD still behind him. Actually, it was a green light. Everybody just was stopping for law enforcement, which was nice of them. But here we are. That's through Chandler now. And again, just to remind everybody, he's got no front right tire. That front right tire is no good right now after some sort of what we believe to be a collision. It's unclear. We know that assault with a deadly weapon happened 3 days ago. So we don't know if the car has been damaged like this for 3 days or if during the course of the pursuit today he ran over something that popped his tire and created all these issues for him. That is the 170 that he is going under right there as we come through here through Burbank Boulevard. So we're still northbound Colfax through Burbank. North Hollywood units, ironically, the ones that started this. We've been all the way out to Alhambra, Pasadena, and now they are the ones that are right behind him here conducting this pursuit and waiting for Metropolitan Division to catch up here. So obviously we're sticking with it. Metropolitan Division is bringing in those armored vehicles that will hopefully be able to bring this to an end as we enter hour 3 of this pursuit. This pursuit started at 8:50 tonight, and they are, so Metropolitan Division, just listening to that radio traffic, they are just getting to the division. They haven't even deployed to make it to the chase yet. So that process is still ongoing at this point as those officers continue now northbound Colfax through Hatteras Street, kind of back into the North Hollywood area after we crossed under the 170 freeway here. The next cross he's going to go through is Oxnard. So, we don't know what part of North Hollywood this guy is familiar with, but we do believe that he is familiar with at least parts of North Hollywood because we know that that's kind of where all of this began. That's where that domestic violence call happened 3 days ago. That's where the alleged assault with a deadly weapon incident happened 3 days ago. So it would reason to believe that he is aware of this area and making a eastbound turn now onto Oxnard from Colfax. So again, what's this guy's plan? We don't know. Is he going to give it up before Metropolitan Division gets here? Or, how is this going to play out? But based on some of the radio traffic we're listening to, it looks like Metropolitan Division is still a bit out. So this could go on for a little while longer. SkyCal, just for everyone's awareness, has about 25 minutes of fuel left. At this point, we're up near our airport, so we've got some options here. But this has been going on for an extended period of time, no faster than on the freeway one time for like 30 seconds. We saw him going about 50 miles an hour. Other than that, we have been going at these very slow speeds, making now a southbound turn onto Lankershim Boulevard. As we wrap up CBS LA at 10 here, we're going to bring in our viewers on CBS LA Channel 2 for CBS LA at 11 o'clock.
Right now at 11, breaking news, a slow pursuit of a suspect wanted for assault on an officer.
And assignment editor Mike Rogers is tracking it all from the desk. Mike, this pursuit has been going on for more than 2 hours. And before you set us up again, just want to ask you, when we left you an hour ago, you said the Metro was on the way. Where are they?
Yeah, so we've been listening to that. Metropolitan Division is getting ready, essentially. So I want to explain to everyone how Metropolitan Division works. This is not a group of officers, unless there's something already going on. This is not a group of officers that is, kind of sitting at the division waiting for something to happen to go out. The way this works is they will get requested. They'll come from home or from wherever they're at. They all meet at Metropolitan Division, which is near Elysian Park. Look at that. We're pulling into a gas station here. This is a new move. We'll try to, if we can move around. Okay, driver doors open. This may finally be coming to an end here as we're kind of going the wrong side of the road. Is he out? Yeah, he's out and running. Brian, pull down here near the motel. Yep, right there under the spotlight.
Wow.
So all
and
that,
the car is still going.
And the car is still going. There he is, the second floor of the motel.
Oh, those are officers.
There he is, white shirt, black pants.
Yep.
All that. Okay, there he is, encountering. Okay, fighting with officers.
Got him.
Yeah.
How scary for the people in that motel.
Scary for the people in that motel. And I'm comfortable saying this now that he is going to be taken into custody. Those comments that he was making earlier were that he did not want to come out of this alive.
Wow.
So that's what I was refraining from saying that earlier until this played out. Now that he is in custody, after all of this, that is the best way it could have ended. Him getting out, running, in custody, nobody was hurt. But man, what a long several hours, at least almost a little over 2 hours for everybody involved in this.
But you know what? They made the commitment early on, officers, as you said, they knew about this guy before tonight, before all of this started. So they wanted to make sure that they took this person into custody, and I imagine that's because of all of the felony charges that this guy had before this even happened, before this pursuit. And it's interesting, he didn't want to be taken alive. He got out though and he ran.
Yeah.
We don't know. Do we know if a weapon has been retrieved? Can you hear that over the scanner, Mike?
We've not heard that yet. I'm going to ask Brian to go back to the car. The car's right there on the side of the road.
Yeah, because the car kept going.
Yeah, he got out, the car rolled, and it's going to be right underneath, probably behind that tree, Brian. You may have to come to the east a little bit, but yeah, it's probably right under there. Yeah, we had not heard anything about him actually having a gun just yet. Certainly, they're going to look for that, so I'm just listening to some of the traffic. But
sure.
Yeah, if we slide around, Brian, and lose that building and that tree, that's where the car is going to be. And officers are clearing it at this point. And again, this is why they had so many officers that were down there. They just finally gave out the official code for.
And you know something? North Hollywood.
Yeah.
This is an area where it started in North Hollywood, correct?
Well, it did. And, you know, Pat, in the last like half hour, we finally got a lot of information that the assault with a deadly weapon on the police officer actually happened 3 days ago. So they responded for a domestic violence call. While they were at the domestic violence call, he allegedly ran into their car with his car. And that's where you get the assault with a deadly weapon. His criminal history, and again, we want to be clear, his criminal history, these are arrests, not necessarily convictions, burglary, narcotics, assault with a firearm, involuntary manslaughter. Lots have been going on with this person for an extended period of time.
Do we know that this is his residence?
No, we don't. And so we don't know if he just kind of, you know, ran up to this location. Okay, here's what's interesting, guys. I don't see the car. I don't know if it kept rolling into the parking lot there or what happened, but you know, that's where it ended. Maybe it's inside of when we keep coming around, maybe it's in that driveway more, but this is where it kind of ended. So we'll have to go back and see what that's about. But anyway, he is in custody, and they did just give out the code for.